Hello everybody, happy Thursday, June the 18th. Captain Marty here. Had a great day down at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center yesterday, my alma mater, up on the top of that beautiful new building, looking all around. Best view on the Outer Banks. You're looking at Oregon Inlet, you're looking at the Bass Knife Bridge, you're looking at the Pamlico Sound, you're just looking at the Body Island Lighthouse, and so much more. Really, really neat place to stop. I hope you get a chance to visit there. It's my alma mater. I spent a lot of the happiest years of my life there at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. We do have some stuff in the fish report to report today, and we've got some weather coming, I hope. And I don't mean as far as wind, but we sure do need the rain. This drought stuff has really been tough on our plants and our crops. But we'll look at the whole picture when I come back in just a moment.
Make your next Outer Banks getaway a stay at Seahorse Inn and Cottages in Nags Head. Conveniently located across from Jeanette's Pier, it's a favorite home base for surfers, anglers, and beach lovers alike. Choose from recently updated guest rooms or spacious cottages, perfect for couples, families, and extended stays. Bringing your four-legged friend? Seahorse Inn is pet-friendly, so the whole family can join the adventure. Whether you're chasing the perfect wave, reeling in the catch of the day, or simply soaking up the beach vibes, Seahorse Inn offers comfort, convenience, and classic OBX charm. Visit us online at visitobx.com.
Surrounded by water, Currituck and the people of the Outer Banks have been shaped and defined by its rich and coastal maritime history. The Currituck Maritime Museum tells the story of Currituck's boat-building forefathers, their remarkable craft, and the legacy they left behind on how to live life and thrive on the waters of the Outer Banks. Discover the Maritime Museum in historic Corolla Park, across the street from the Currituck Beach Lighthouse, and visit us online at currituckmaritimemuseum.com. Be a part of the local history at the Currituck Maritime Museum.
So down in Hatteras, a good day on the dolphin fishing. The fish dolphin were a lot of bailers, 3 to 5 pounds. Those are crowd pleasers, and you can catch a lot of them in a hurry with a skilled crew. We used to coach our charters on the way out in the morning what to do if you came up on an old bed of grass, an old pallet or loading mat barnacled up. The mahi, or dolphin fish as they are biologically accurately called, hang around, stuff like that. When you get one on the line, you leave it in the water. That's the decoy. And they also call them the grave digger because once you get that one on, the rest of them are going in the coffin, which is the fish bogs. They had good dolphin fishing. They had a few wahoo in the catches, a few blackfin tuna. My old buddy Ron Whitaker on the released 2 blue marlin. This is kind of important because starting Monday, he'll be fishing in the Hatteras Marlin Club tournament. I'll be down there for all of that. And he's always a favorite to win these tournaments. He's won the Big Rock. He does really good in the Hatteras Village Offshore Open. The Bite Me had 2 sailfish down there. I did see that as well. Their inshore boats are back to the bluefish and red drum quest. Sight casting in some cases. Depends on where they're catching them. The ones that are around the inlet or out in the ocean, it's a lot of sight casting. And we'll talk in our backcountry report about the ones in the Sound in just a moment. So just hang on for that. At Oregon Inlet, some big eye tuna were caught. I talked to Will Howe on the drifter. He had 2 big eyes. The one was like 180 and one was like 220 pounds. That's a nice size tuna. And he had 5 or 6 big yellowfins. Great catch for William, one of my favorite captains in the Oregon Inlet fleet. There were some mahi in the catches. I saw Barry Sawyer had a nice catch up there out of Pirates Cove. And, most everybody had a pretty good day on the meat fishing. Around the inlet, there's a little bit of activity going on for some Spanish mackerel and some bluefish. Nothing really to write home about. But I got to tell you this. Was something really neat seen by someone that really knows what they're looking like. Captain Devin Cage, I think it was, on the Poacher, saw a great white shark yesterday. And you think, great whites around here? And yes, they do swim around here. And those inshore boats see them more often than the offshore boats. They're in there feeding on those Spanish and bluefish and drum. And don't worry, yeah, I know it's a great white shark. Your only thing that you need to remember to try to do is to swim faster than the people that are with you. That way you won't have to worry about the great white shark. So anyway, enough of that. That's it for there. We'll talk about the surf and the pier fishing. It's been pretty much the same as it has been for last week or so. Just a pick with bluefish and sea mullet, whether you're on the surf or fishing on a pier. Jeanette's pier was 72-degree water, had bluefish and croakers. And then they got into a little of the, what would we call this? The high class stuff. They caught some sea bass and triggerfish. And if you listen to my program, you know that triggerfish is my favorite fish to eat. If you haven't had it yet, well, ask for it in a restaurant. Triggerfish. They are mostly a bottom-dwelling fish, not entirely, but they eat shrimp and crabs for a living, and they're really, really good to eat. Rodanthe Pier down on Hatteras Island had 76 degrees, 4 degrees warmer on the water temperature. They had croakers, and they had some bluefish and some flounders that they released down that way. That's about all I have. I'm not getting a lot of pier reports right now. I'm a little surprised by that, and I know it's not right home to granny good fishing, but it's still, it's the greatest way to introduce a kid to fishing in the whole world is to take them out pier fishing. We'll take a little break right here, and I'll come back and talk to you about a little bit of stuff in the Pamlico Sound, which is waking up finally, and we're seeing some increases in bites there. So stay right where you're at, and I'll be right back.
When it comes to general maintenance or major modifications on your diesel vehicle, look no further than Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance in Kill Devil Hills. Master mechanic Ryan Walker developed the plan for having his own auto shop over 20 years ago, and today he owns the premium diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks. To have him and his crew take a look under your hood, give him a call today at 252-715-0025 or find him on social media. Wanchi's Off-Road Diesel Performance, the diesel performance powerhouse of the Outer Banks.
So all through the early part of the spring, right into, we're almost to the first day of real summer, we've had a few big drum back in the Sound, but you got to really know what you're doing to fish for them and to catch them and where to go. But now we're getting into more traditional stuff, and we're over here on the east side of the Pamlico Sound. In rough figures, the Pamlico Sound, our biggest sound, is 120 miles long. Roughly at its widest point, maybe 25 miles across, 30 maybe, around behind Ocracoke. I'm not really sure, but I know it's a big body of water. But now the backside of Ocracoke and Hatteras Island has started firing up with these puppy drum. That bite is picking up. Of course, they're mostly in the slot, where if you do catch one in the slot size, you can keep one per person. But now there's bluefish showing up back there too, whether you're in a boat or wade fishing. And let me tell you something, if you haven't wade fished, you need to give it a try, because the Hatteras Island alone is 60 miles long. That's a lot of shoreline back there just begging for you to come fishing. Nothing more enjoyable than to put on a pair of old tennis shoes that you don't need anymore. You don't want to go barefoot, even though it's tempting. And I could tell you that, I'll tell you why, but I don't have time today to tell you why. But there's a stingray back there could be a problem. But anyway, get out there on the backside of Rodanthe and Avon is really a really good spot. There's plenty of Park Service access areas, and go down there and get your local tackle shop to rig you up with a pop and cork rig and go out there and spend the day fishing. It hasn't really fired off yet, as I mentioned yesterday, up around Roanoke Island, but that'll get good too. All this stuff is moving in and up and getting better. So we do have the puppy drum. We do have some bluefish. We're seeing a few other things too. Sheephead bite has been good all spring. Most of that around the buoys and the inlet and the structure. But really, that's another thing to go for. And we'll be reporting on the Miss Oregon Inlet went on an all-day in the ocean trip yesterday, and I could not get up with him last night, and he's back out to sea this morning. But I'll give you an update on that when I get it. Meanwhile, even if you didn't come to the Outer Banks planning on going fishing, I can't tell you how many people came here not planning to go fishing, went fishing. Like in 1974, a fellow by the name of Jack Harrington strolled into the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center, where I spent such a wonderful day yesterday, said, I want to go on a makeup charter. I don't have a group with me, but can you put me on a group with other people? And they do that all the time. They'll match you if they carry 6 people. They'll match you with 5 other people, which they did for him, 1974. He went offshore. On the way out, they pulled a a broom out of the cabin and he drew straws. And Jack got, I think, the third place straw. Went out there fishing. First place guy caught a tuna. The second place guy caught a mahi. It was Jack's turn. He hopped in the chair. And the bite that came along at that moment was one of the biggest in the history of Atlantic fishing. They hooked a giant blue marlin, fought it through the day, brought it to the dock. It was too big to weigh on what was at the time the current scale at Oregon Inlet. The biggest fish it ever weighed was like 700 or 800 pounds. So they loaded the fish in the back of a pickup truck, and Jack Harrington, the captain, and over 100 other vehicles drove all the way down to Hatteras, to the Hatteras Marlin Club, where I'll be all this coming week. They drove down there to a state-certified scale and weighed that fish. It weighed 1,142 pounds. A blue marlin, one of the biggest ever caught in the Atlantic Ocean. 3 copies of that fish were made. One is at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center out in front of the store, if you want to see that. One is in the Smithsonian Institution, and the other was Jack Harrington actually built a room in his house to hold that 14-foot-long blue marlin. So never say never. Even if you didn't plan on going fishing, be a Jack Harrington and go down and get on a boat, ask to go on a makeup charter, and see what adventures await you. And that's our report for today. I hope the good Lord blesses you richly.